I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Whoa, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah. Lying in the bed this morning and couldn't sleep because of the pain and suffering that so many of my brothers and sisters of the world are going through every day. And it seems as if there is no recourse. And I know what I have been given to say has been rejected, perhaps. But I understand, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you to understand that all of us here, we're imperfect. Sometimes we can conclude that the baby, as soon as it pops out of his mother's womb, is imperfect. I won't go that far. But I will say that having lived and exposed in a world like we are living in, as soon as we get an exposure, as soon as we start saying, then we are caught. And we go through this a whole lifetime. I don't care what level of life, whether you lived on the right side of the fence or the left side, north or east, it doesn't make any difference. Everywhere there's corruption. Your corruption might be different than another, but it's corruption. And ladies and gentlemen, what I have to tell you today, it could be kind of easy to understand. This world that we're living in was made for us human beings. Now, are there other worlds where people are living? I don't know, nor do I care. But I do know that there are people here, and I do care. But we were put here, ladies and gentlemen, as innocent as that little baby that pops out of the mother's womb. And we are put on this planet by a parent who loves us, wanted to give us a chance, give us the opportunity to be perfect. And even if we failed, give us the opportunity to still change. Not be condemned by our imperfection all our lives. And so I'm reminded to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there are two ways that we can live in this world, and they got two different outcomes. One is a way of love, and the other is a way of hate. The way of love is the way for peace and prosperity and happiness in life and joy and for heaven right here in our lives. That's the way of love. The way of hate or evil is the opposite. Crime, violence, poverty, you name it, some of everything. But what brings it about? You see, what happened is this. In order for us to love one another, it requires a particular type of response in our everyday life with ourselves and with one another. You know what, some of you have been in love before. You know what love is. It means every day, always looking out, caring, preventing. But mankind decided that they didn't need God. They didn't see God. They couldn't touch God. So they kind of felt like that gave them an opportunity to ignore what they can't see. And if there were to be a God, why not a God that you can see? And that meant man. Man is the only thing that he could see. No aliens, no invisible God, but man. And in order for man to be God, he had to come up with a way that would meet the needs of the people as God did. And so rather than love, hate allowed for the manifestation of money. Now today we know it as money. Back in the beginning time, we don't know what it was called. But today, we understand it as money. Love answers all your prayers. Man says money answers all your prayers. And as we walk away from love, we begin the process of creating not heaven on earth, but hell on earth. And where we are in the world today, sure, we've had World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korean conflict, all kinds of wars. They have all been a reflection. It's a response to hell that men are creating. Now, you've heard it said that hell is someplace else that you have to, that God has created, and all kinds of turmoil is down there. Based upon what I understand about God, and I'm only speaking about what I understand about God, God didn't create that. God is Allah. And if that is created, it wasn't created by the devil. It was created by man in his opposition to God. Let me say it again. It was created by man in his opposition to God. When you see, and I'm not trying to, recreate burning fire about the past, but sometimes we need to refer to it to get an understanding. When you see men who hold themselves as slave masters, holding people and treating them like whatever they want to treat them like, what do you think those people who call themselves slaves and masters, what do you think they see themselves as? They see themselves as God. And the way they treat people, the slaves, this is, my friend, the response that comes from men who claim to be God, and the slaves is a response of men who don't know God and are just lost. All of it is a fruition of hell. Hell. Right now, for us who are living in America, everything that we have been taught when we were kids about Satan, evil, and we try to put it on some other figure. But it is man. And today in Washington, we got a devil over here. I don't think we've ever had a devil like this before in my lifetime. We might have. But this guy makes it obvious. You say, take a light and put it on the hill so the world can see. Trump took evil and put it on the hill for the world to see. And the world is buying into it. All across the earth it appears. People who kind of have been sitting back behind the blinders trying to pretend like they weren't there were so excited when this big demon got on the hill and shined the darkness. Now they all coming out from under the woodwork. Hate, hate, kill, kill. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, do you think you gotta go in a place down in the earth somewhere? No. That stuff is manifesting itself right here. Now that what you heard about happening in the middle of the earth, it hasn't grown to that point just yet. But it's headed that way. And it's not going to be in the middle of the earth. It's going to be right here on earth. And if there's going to be a change, if there's going to be heaven, it's going to be right here on earth. And how is it going to be done? It's going to be done by people who have given up this idea that man is the answer. It might mean that we've had a third world war. We might have had, if we survive, a fourth. And it might mean that the earth will be liquidated of most humankind. Might just be one or two who will practice the principles of love and start it all over. And it will be man's choice. Man's choice. Right now, look at the people who tell you about God. Do you think they really know about God? You know they don't. All they talk about is getting your money. And those big mega churches, oh man, they got that wrapped down so smooth till you just pull your money to them and they just grab it in. Why? Because it is man and man's denial of God. That is what it is all about. You might not see it like that, but that is what it's all about. Preachers, for instance, who go out into the system trying to work to survive. They're saying they need the devil. They need what the devil has set up. They need what the devil has instituted in order for them to survive. rather than standing up for the right way of doing something, for standing up for the proper way, for standing up the loving way to make sure people have food, clothing, and shelter, standing up for the proper way to make sure that people have, when I say people, I'm talking about all people, have education and health care. The proper way. Rather than do that, they'll go, you know, when somebody come over and try to get you involved in drugs, and you say you don't want to do it, you don't want to have anything to do with it, and they do it in spite of what you want to do, and you see how they are benefiting, they're getting, and they're doing, and you are sitting there looking. And so, rather than just start advocating for something so much more beautiful, you start getting in with the drug dealers. Maybe you don't sell it, you just transport it. Now you got today men in prison, women in prison for having a seed in a car for years and years and years. When in certain states now, you got cars wrapped around blocks, you got people all wrapped around blocks buying weed. That's man. That would never happen with God. But that's man. And all we are doing today is acting like we don't have any power. Our politicians, our leaders, all of that is a process of the system of man to deny God. They want to act like they are concerned about you. And in many instances they are. But for everyone that is concerned about you, there are those out there who are concerned about others that had nothing to do, but is in opposition to you. And they are winning. They are winning because we have accepted a system that says got money rather than love. Here in America today, meaning love means you're going to die. Love means you're going to reject the system of man. You're going to advocate for the system of God. And but not only are you going to advocate in words, you're going to advocate in action. And you're going to be standing right up against man. They call it the devil. You're going to be standing right up against man. What kind of man? You're going to be standing up against that man who was willing to take people and treat them as slaves, take away their kids, hang them in trees, hang them anywhere, cut off their private parts. You're going to be under the control of men like this, men who will go to war and burn up a whole doggone town just to have some power. This is how we are controlled today, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we're controlled. Mostly every law that is designed right now is designed to stop heaven. And we have said, well, it's all we know. All since we've been in the world, this is what we've seen. And so you think that's the way it's supposed to be, and you bought onto the lie that you got to die to get something better or die to get your punishment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all happening right here before us today. We just don't know it because we didn't have the people to tell us. And the one who told us, we weren't listening. When Dr. King was killed, out of all the messages that Dr. King had talked about, all the pavement miles that he had walked, there was no message like the message when he was killed. That message said that living on this plain in the middle of this hell was not worth it. When it happened to Abraham Lincoln, same message. When it happened to Malcolm X, same message. I would like to name a few more white people if I could, but I don't know any. In Jesus' day, even that, for those of you who don't believe in Jesus, the message itself tells you that it is better to hang on a tree than to be conformed and following the dictates of those like Donald Trump, of those like whoever those slave owners were that lived in the South, that the Southerners are so proud of, that they put up monuments for. Ladies and gentlemen, this is hell. This is hell. Don't believe that. You heard somebody say, well, let them both grow. Weeds and the vegetables. Just let them all grow together. Well, when they say they will be separated, what did that mean? They will be separated. They will be separated by their conduct. You will be able to tell what is a weed, and you will be able to tell what is good. That's like oil and water. Or you can tell the water and you can tell the oil. They are not going to mix. I don't care how you try to mix that water and that oil. It is not going to mix. So living in righteousness and evil, they're not going to mix. You're going to be one or the other. One or the other. And when you are going, a preacher, going backwards and forth to your job every day to get your dollars so you can pay your rent, buy your food, what difference is that in you and a person who never believed in God, who is an atheist, who does the same thing? Go get this dollars and come back and pay their bills, pay their house rent, pay their food. And both of you sitting at the table, paid your rent, got your food, and other things that you did with your money. How do someone distinguish between the person who has value, of godly value, and a person who's just selfish? How can you distinguish from that? They're doing the same thing. They are of the same caliber stuff. You can find one trying to attach yourself to some good, attach yourself to some God, but they're no good. And because what they're doing is actually going along with the same program that's creating all the evil that this world can ever endure. So I guess what I'm basically saying, to cut this short, because I know I've had people tell me, say, if it's 10 minutes long, you better forget it, nobody gonna listen. So if somebody telling you about your life, about how to make life beautiful, and it takes 2 hours for that message to be really given, and you can only get 10 minutes, then you probably deserve all the hell you're going through, because you made a choice of what was important to you. The stuff that's important to you is something that you can laugh at. It'll go viral overnight. It will. You can make a laugh at it or look at it and it just scare you or something like that. It'll go viral overnight. But tell somebody the truth. They'll click on it and right away they can tell, oh, it's nothing funny. It's nothing that's so bizarre that it's going to just excite my mind. So you don't even go. You just keep right on moving. So I want to say this. I couldn't sleep this morning. You can tell everybody else still in the bed. I just wanted to tell you that you have the power, every individual, to express God as you know God. And it is absolutely required that you do so. But that means you are in control. The moment you give up control of your life to any power, anyone whose idea about your life is different than yours, you are a slave. You are a slave. And I don't believe it is one person anywhere on this earth that want to allow that to happen. But they don't know the power that they have. It might mean, especially at a time like this, you might be like the man that was over, a news reporter that got all chopped up because somebody didn't like what he was doing. And your leader, the man who you've chosen to speak for you, tells you, it's okay. It's okay, we can't worry about that. We got deals. It's about money. We got money, billions of dollars, deals with them. So the fact that somebody out there running their mouth, trying to expose something, telling you something that we've been trying to hide, we don't care about that. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. Come on. Come on. I almost want to invite you not to go to church this Sunday. I'm almost tempted to invite you not to go to church this Sunday because it's not going to do any good. You're going to walk in that church the way you walked in there, and you're going to walk out of that church the way you walked out, the way you walked in. You're not going to feel freedom from nothing. You're going to be just as blindsided as you were when you went in. You're not going to have any more love in your heart than you had when you went in. You might have a little bit more hate, but you're not going to have any love. I promise you that. I promise you, if you go to church this Sunday, if you walk in as a devil, you're going to walk out as a devil. And most of us who walk into churches on Sundays are walking in as devils, and we come out as devils. The evidence is on the hill. And I'm going to close this, but I was listening to a little interview about Gary Hart. You know, they're bringing a movie out about Gary Hart. And Gary Hart was saying the things that they brought him down with, they were trying to pretend then like that they had some moral aptitude. Now, he says, what Bill Clinton and what Donald Trump makes him look like a choir boy. But what does this say about the people? The people who thought that what he did was so devastating now have reduced themselves to the slums. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye. Oh.